Hello everybody, welcome back to Catch Up Court. I go by the name of Hines, your friendly neighborhood catch up man, and we are here to catch up on another trial that we've been covering from day one. It's really starting to heat up now. I never thought that this case could get as crazy as this. All I knew of the case was that this was a hire for murder case, and Donna Adelson is going to be facing trial for her involvement, and I thought, okay, this is all I'm expecting. And now we are seeing a kind of a American mafia run family. It seems like, but yeah, this case is really heating up. As I've said, we covered it from day one. You can check out the coverage of day one. I've left all the relevant links in the description for you to catch back on the coverage. But if this is your first time watching, let me give you a brief overview of the case. Donna Adelson, she is on trial for her alleged role in orchestrating the 2014 murder for hire of her former in-law, Dan Markel, and he was a respected law professor at Florida State University. And on the 18th of July 2014, Dan Markel was tragically shot in the head at his home in Tallahassee. And all of this was happening during a custody dispute, a bitter one at that, with Wendi Adelson, who was his wife. Well, they were divorcing, so you get the idea. But anyway, that's essentially the background and what unfolded in this case from on day one for me was simply outstanding. I did not expect to see a lot of the testimonies that we saw. So let's just give you a quick recap of what happened on day one. But like I said, if you want more of an in-depth deep dive or an in-depth catch up, you can go find that out on the day one coverage. The links are below. But yeah, on day one, James Geiger was the first witness, and he was testifying to the 911 call that he made to the police after discovering that Dan had been shot. And the second witness was Sergeant David Sims. He was the officer on the scene, and he was one of the officers on the scene, and he was the one to basically determine that Dan was shot and basically dead, because he did say that Dan was struggling to get his breath, but he knew that his life was effectively over. On the third witness was Joanne Maltese, and she was a crime scene specialist. She recovered the projectiles for further analysis, and the report came back as it was positive for the projectiles or the bullets belonging to a revolver. Craig Isom, who was the detective, gave testimony, and he basically gave a rundown of all the facts in this case. A insane testimony covering how he spoke with the Adelsons, and well, Wendi Adelson to be specific. And while he was speaking with Wendy in connection to all of this, he had received a call from Charlie's lawyer. So we went through all of that yesterday. I'm not going to repeat the bulk of his testimony, but that was the one part that really stuck out to me. Then we heard from Louis Rivera. He was the driver of the Prius that was used to carry out the murder, and he just testified to getting the gun, driving the car, and his friend Garcia was the one to have essentially shot Dan. So that was the bulk of his testimony, and the key part that came out from his testimony was that they were told by this person who hired them, called Kathryn Mack. I call her Kathryn Mack. I can't pronounce her surname, but she was the one to basically order the hit, and they carried it out. And she said that the reason why Rivera said that she told him that the reason why they're carrying out the hit was because Wendi Adelson wants the kids. So that was the key part from his testimony. And now we are here on day 2, and 4 witnesses testified today. Really long day in court. Jason Newlin gave testimony, and he is part of the police department. He analyzed the divorce between Markel and Wendy, the divorce communications around that. Then Wendi Adelson gave testimony. She was the 7th witness up, and this is the daughter of Donna Adelson. Then we heard from Robert Adelson, who was the son of Donna Adelson, and I have a lot of fault when it comes to his testimony, as much as I have with Wendi Adelson, because I did not expect there to be another Adelson that hasn't had a criminal charge come against him for all this, but I have a lot of faults. Is my point. And then Officer Brannon was the last witness for the day. He was the 9th witness, and he was basically giving testimony in regards to the road blockage, and how the person that was driving this particular vehicle had reacted to the blockage. So that was the bulk. That's all of today's witnesses. We're now gonna go deep into each of these witnesses' testimony. So make sure that you hit that like button if you are here with us. Let me know how you're feeling in the chat, and also if you're watching back on replay, make sure that you let me know how you're feeling in the comment section, as well as hit that subscribe button and that like button to really help us out with the YouTube algorithm. All of you guys, don't forget to share this. It does help us out a lot. But let's catch up with this case. There is so much to go through. The case just started with a voir dire in regards to the admissibility of the evidence coming in for the divorce, as well as the emails between Donna and Wendy. So it was all allowed. It was allowed in, as well as the emails were allowed in. The emails were allowed in as long as the pattern was the pattern of the sender was established by, the sender or the receiver was established by the prosecution. So because there was a shared email between Donna and Harvey Adelson, they had to separate and make sure that they know who is the one that has been sending the email. So the defense were trying to get rid of these emails to say that they don't know the identity, and anyone could have used it, but the judge ruled against that. The judge also allowed a limit. The judge also didn't allow a jail informant testimony in this trial. I believe there was a motion to suppress a jailhouse informant testimony, so that was granted, and that's basically the bulk of that voir dire. So Jason Newlin was allowed to come in and testify to his knowledge in regards to the divorce filing between Dan Markel and Wendi Adelson. He also gave testimony that he reviewed all the documents relevant to this, and the planner that was used by Donna Adelson as well, where they were making evites to certain events. He testified that Wendi Adelson had filed for divorce from Dan Markel on the 12th of September 2012. Donna was also aware, as there was an email that was sent on the 9th of September 2012 to show that she knew that Wendy was getting divorced, and also on the 19th of December 2012 was shown to knew that she was 19th of September 2012 to show that she knew that the divorce had been filed. So Wendy was one to a petition for the divorce. Exhibits was also shown to show that Donna's emails to Wendy on the 13th of December 2013 in connection with the change of counsel in the divorce. So this was to show that Donna had full knowledge in regards to the change of lawyers that was that happened here. We're gonna hear more about this change and the reason behind it, but essentially we heard from her testimony that it was because of the filings that Dan and the allegations that Dan had made in his filings, that Dan Markel has made in his filings. On the 5th of December 2012, there was a filing for dissolution of marriage from Wendi Adelson. On the 17th of July 2013, Wendy had forwarded emails to both Harvey and Donna regarding the filings that was made regarding the divorce. He also testified that on the 17th of July 2013, Wendy forwarded emails to both Harvey and Donna. He also testified that Wendy had filed for the children to relocate to South Florida. Continuing on, he testified that Wendy had sent an email to Donna on the 10th of December 2012 for edits before she had filed the motion for the relocation of the kids. Donna had responded to the email offering edits and questions to Wendy saying, signing "I love you, Mom." Let's go check out that testimony right here from Jason Newlin.
Donna is asking for the items, and then Wendy responds and sends them, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Next slide. All right, let's go to tab D. What is tab D?
Amended petition for dissolution of marriage and request to be allowed to relocate with the minor children.
All right, what does this indicate, this petition? Does it indicate where she plans to go?
It does. This is Wendi Adelson attempting to move the children to another part of the state.
To Coral Springs, right?
That is correct.
To live with her parents.
Correct.
Okay. And States Exhibit 60D.2, can you tell us about that email?
This motion was forwarded to Donna Adelson with the terms, here it is, let's edit.
All right, so who sent it to Donna Adelson?
Wendi Adelson.
On what date did she send this to her mom?
December 10th, 2012.
Okay, so that's 3 months before the document ends up getting filed, right?
A month.
Okay. So before she files her motion for relocation, she being Wendy, Wendy sends it to the defendant for edits.
Yes.
And does the defendant reply with some edits?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and that's this email that starts, honey, on page 3, number 13, says that you and Danny have assets that are deemed non-marital assets, which are either titled in both or in each individual name, which will be kept separate. What non-marital assets are these? Does this refer to your 401k, his 401ks? If so, his 401ks, one for $75,000 and one for $25,000, if not set aside in a prenup, are deemed marital assets. So this is, am I correct? This is Donna responding to each she kind of goes paragraph by paragraph and offers edits and questions for Wendy.
That's correct.
The reason I thought that this part was key to highlight was because we know that the defense theory has been that Donna is just a normal mom and she is just trying to help out with their children in whatever predicament that they find themselves in. But all of this, at least this part of the testimony where she's discussing the asset, etc., shows an over involvement that doesn't seem to be something that a normal mom would do, especially with her expertise. I think we learned from yesterday's stream as well that she used to be a former judge, so her legal prowess is, I mean, not all judges are the best, but I mean, just because you become a judge basically doesn't mean that you always have the full knowledge of some are great, some are not, is what I'm trying to say. But she does know at least like the basics. So that to me, this part to me was really helpful in laying the early onset laying the foundation for the early onset involvement by Donna Adelson, and how this could lead to her being involved with the murder for hire that is eventually led to the death of Dan Markel. So he also testifies that Wendy was sending sending her lawyers' communications over to Donna. So all of this is privileged information, right? And she was basically sending those privileged information over to Donna to be involved in the case. Again, this is way more involvement than just a normal mom would be involved in. He testifies that Wendy had a better employment offers in South Florida, and Donna highlighted this to her to be a major bargaining chip in the divorce. So she was basically saying this would persuade the judge presiding over the case that that the reason why the judge should side with Wendy was because she has a better employment opportunities over there in South Florida than in Tallahassee to basically make the move, and it will be better for the kids being there as well. He also testifies that Dan didn't want the kids to move to South Florida, and says that Wendy wanted them to move to South Florida to be closer with the family. And he says that Dan had complained that Wendy had used the children as pawns, and that Wendy was not allowing the kids to Skype with the father. I'm gonna play this part of the testimony because this was a clear sign of, in my opinion, and it was highlighted by the prosecution as well as parental alienation.
You're leaving. Is that what she said?
Yes.
And that's Donna's the author of that.
Correct.
Okay. Let's go to tab G, please. What is tab G?
The husband's answer to wife's amended petition for dissolution of marriage and request to be allowed to relocate with the minor children, and husband's objection to wife's request to relocate with minor children with prayer for relief.
So he didn't want her to move to South Florida with his kids.
He did not.
And what did he say was the sole reason that she really wanted to move to South Florida with the kids?
So she can be closer to her parents.
Right. And did he say that she was misusing access to the children as pawns?
Yes.
Meaning Wendy was doing that.
Correct.
Okay. And did he make some other allegations against Wendy in this particular filing? For example, the wife alleges that the husband wants to move from FSU, but that is false. So he's saying that Wendy is misstating his intentions in the pleadings. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Does he also say something about, here's the pawns, we can skip that.
Right.
The wife has on various occasions failed to allow the children to Skype with the husband. So as part of his allegation here that the communication is lacking.
Yes.
And specifically that Wendy is failing to comport with the agreement that they've made about Skyping with the children.
Yes.
Like I said, this is showing parental alienation on Wendy's part and showing that she doesn't want the dad to be involved with the children's life, she doesn't want Dan to be part of the children's life, and that's what he is trying to show to the judge that was presiding over the divorce, that essentially the case should not be allowed to move for this reason, and Wendy was not a good fit because of these actions. He also testifies, and the he here is Jason Newlin. He also testifies to communications on the 21st of February 2013 that Donna had read everything that Dan had wrote, and we know that is Donna because again it is signed "I love you, Mom." So that like the judge ruled, they have gone on to always show when Donna has basically signed when it comes to this shared email that she was using to basically go through this whole divorce. He testifies also that on the 21st of February 2013, that on the 27th of February 2013, that Donna had said that she was working on a petition and response to the Dan Markel filing, objecting to the relocation and saying that he wanted he had wanted the sole decision making. So this was Donna advising Wendy that and telling her that he is unreasonable for going the route that he gone to, and Wendy should react like this, and basically said this is when she was suggesting to Wendy that she should be doing XYZ to aggravate him. On the 2nd of May 2013, Wendy had forwarded an email to Donna Adelson the moment that Dan Markel had filed his memorandum of law to support his stance. Donna says that the most important part of this was the relocation, and he calls Dan a narcissist and says that he is an idiot for writing that he wanted full control of the kids. Again, this is showing her over involvement in this whole litigation. He also testifies to more messages that were sent by Donna insulting him and making him out to be a control freak. He testifies that Donna was aware of the notice of deposition on the 22nd of May 2013, and calls Dan Markel a jackass for wanting to depose Donna. So basically, Dan wanted to bring her in because he was alleging, according to my understanding, he wanted to limit the kids going over to be with Donna Adelson. So he wanted to limit and control their visitation with her. Sorry. Okay, moving on. He testifies to an email that Dan called the pleadings. Sorry, I missed that one. He testifies to an email on the 11th of June 2013, which was sent to Wendy by Donna to show that the travels of Dan, where Wendy is arguing that Dan travels too much to be a present father. So all of this, again, this is between Donna and Wendy, all discussing this divorce and showing that she had a really strong part to play in it. This might seem like nothing, but it will make sense when we get to the part in which Donna learns about the order. But continuing on, he also testifies to an email. That Dan called the pleadings by Wendy as baseless and it should be dismissed with prejudice. This is the steps to get the order. He testifies that the order was denied for relocation with prejudice on the 21st of June 2013, and Donna acknowledges the order by messaging a friend on the 24th of June 2013, saying that there was no physical abuse as alleged, so it is denied. He says that Donna expressed that she was angry about this order to her friend. So essentially, Wendi Adelson had alleged that Dan was basically physically abusing her. And the inference that I get from this that jurors might pick up is that this was the advice of Donna to give to Wendi, maybe offline, maybe off the emails, to try and get an upper hand with the divorce and the custody of the kids based on our involvement. And now it's been denied, and basically said that it was baseless because they didn't find any evidence of that. So she's reacting negatively to this particular news, and all of this is giving is basically a setup to essentially show that she was very invested in this, and perhaps she was so invested that she will cross the line and help in the orchestrating of his subsequent killing. He testifies that on the 25th of June 2013, that Donna had sent an email to Wendi saying that she is not giving up and she wouldn't give up, and she shouldn't give up, and says that they should show this effort what's to happen and to give the performance of her life. Now, I'm going to go to this part because to me, it was very interesting to hear the dad mentioning this, because I want to know if there will be criminal liability on his end, if there might be proceedings heading to his end.
By having you remain in Tallahassee, 8 hours away from the only family you have, and lose out on what will be a job that will afford you and your children advantages that they will never otherwise be able to enjoy. Let's show this F what will make him absolutely miserable. Fast forward. However, the rest of your life, and consequently Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's, will be affected by how well you can perform or act before July 31st. You can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. You have a very strong family behind you. Dad and I have done everything we can to try to help you for the last 10 months. Now it's time to help yourself. Fast forward. If you can put these actions before everything else this next month, and you know that you've only got the kids a limited number of days to do this, we believe that Jibbers will be saying, stop this, and you'll be telling him, you wanted me in Tallahassee? My children are going to fit in this Bible Belt. They're going to church every time I have them. I'm having them privately tutored at home to get them caught up for Sunday school classes. Tell him that you've got a new outlook on life and a new hope, and you'd like to go to heaven. Perhaps he would like to join you and the boys at church. Plan of action. 1, take photos of the boys dressed nicely, standing at the front door or by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so everyone will see this. Perhaps a line under the photo with "New Beginnings in Tallahassee" might be nice. And then 2, make arrangements to get the boys caught up with a private tutor, a teenage Catholic church member, who will come to the house to teach the young men about Jesus. If you don't have time to arrange for this to happen, I'll happily do it for you. 3, let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now with the boys, and you'd like him to be part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and a baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks.
And it's even funny that he even laughed at this during giving this testimony. But the most interesting part about this, like I said, is the dad being mentioned, and it also shows the methodical play and how invested basically Donna was in this whole divorce, that it could escalate further. That's the idea that is being presented here. He also testified that Donna had instructed Wendy to aggravate Dan Markel and gave him the grief for all that he's done to her, and says that something is to be done to this a-hole. This was approximately 5 months before the murder. To be quite fair, this was the only part that came out of this testimony that does look like it could rise to the level where murder could occur, and where she could have orchestrated the murder to occur, just based on her saying that something has to be done to this guy because he is restricting the movements of, the relocating of the kids to be closer to them. So that's basically the state's theory right there. They want the Adelson, Donna Adelson wanted full control. Donna Adelson wanted the kids to come and live with her, wanted Wendy to come and relocate to live in closer to the family, and the only person that was stopping that in the middle of this divorce was Dan Markel. He also testifies to Dan Markel taking action against Wendy and the lawyer who was sending privileged information to Wendy. He said that the positions were baseless and frivolous, and she's making fraudulent claims against him. So it seems to me that his lawyer was sending, what I gathered from the testimony anyway, is that his lawyer was sending information over to Wendy without him knowing, basically, from their communications. He testifies also to the Dan Markel emails and filings, and the parenting coordinator requests were being forwarded to Donna Adelson by Wendy. So all of the requests, all of the emails, all of the filings that was made in this case was being, in this particular divorce anyway, I should specify, in this particular divorce was being sent over to Donna Adelson for consideration. So that was the bulk of the direct examination. On cross-examination, I'm not gonna lie, they already have so many bad facts to go against, but it was underwhelming in my opinion. I'm gonna give a quick highlight, but there was nothing much that came with it. There wasn't much fireworks, because the defense were highlighting that there's no way of knowing who the email was from. The one email that said love Donna Adelson and another that said love mom and dad. So he was highlighting some of these emails that was sent. Would have been nice to know which email it was they were being that was being referred to. I was thinking he would have just read the email first and then says, who done that? Can you tell who did that? Can you tell who wrote this? But all he did on the cross-examination was basically show that the email that was sent that was sent here on this occasion could have been sent by either Harvey or Donna. But I personally think that this email could have been, because of the timing, it could have been from the parenting coordinator emails that was forwarded to by Wendy to Donna. But like I said, there's no way of actually knowing for sure, because they didn't specify that on cross-examination. The defense also highlights that in the message regarding the relocation, that at some point in the future, if Dan decides to move, Wendy can relocate. So he agreed with this because the message does exist, that there was a stipulation with the divorce that if Dan moved, that Wendy can the relocation can happen if Dan decides to move. The defense highlights that Wendy had messaged Donna saying she's not doing all that she was requested to do on the 25th of June 2013. So that plan of action email that we saw, and I forgot to say this, gibbers means Jew in boots. I don't know. I mean, it seems it is a slur. I don't know if it's an actual recognized law. I believe it would be, but it just shows the deep hatred that Donna would have for the deceased here to be using these type of slurs against him. So that part, so even though the testimony came out in regards to Wendy not taking the instruction or rejecting the instruction, that doesn't really matter because Wendy is not the one on the trial. It's Donna that still sent the plan of action. Is Donna that still was involved in drafting all of that and sending all of that and expressing what she expressed on that email. So they didn't clean that part up. I don't know how they could clean up. They're not miracle workers, so I don't know how they could clean that message up. But that shows how devastating this testimony was. All these emails coming in are looking bad for Donna Adelson's case because she is denying involvement. So this is showing that she was involved from the onset. And on redirect, he testifies that after the murder, Wendi Adelson and the kids had relocated and lived a few blocks from Harvey and Wendy. And I thought this was a great redirect because they didn't even go into anything that was brought up on cross-examination. They just brought in the last point to make based on the openings that was brought in on cross in regards to where the defense had highlighted that if Dan wanted to move, that Wendy can relocate. They just basically brought this part in to show, yeah, they did end up relocating, but only when Dan had died. And then we move on to a lot of notes to go through, but it was Wendi Adelson that took the stand next, and her testimony lasted past lunchtime, lasted all the way to near the end of the day before her brother took the stand. But essentially, she just gave testimony in regards to her background of being an immigration attorney, and she also testified that, and she was also testifying under immunity the type of immunity that she has is that her testimony from this trial cannot be used against her, but she can still be prosecuted for any criminal wrongdoing. So that's the immunity that she's testifying under. And like I said on day one, based on what's come out from Detective Isom, and also what has come out from Louis Rivera, that is very likely that she is going to face criminal liability for this, and there's no way that she's just not gonna stop that, in my opinion. Like, I think they're definitely going to go after her. Her name was mentioned by the person that was ordering the hit, so it just doesn't look good. But off the bat, I will say that she looked composed. I mean, for someone that's being grilled about a murder and being given some facts about the case, I thought that she just didn't seem shaken by anything. Like, she just seemed composed through it all. But I'm gonna go through her testimony, and I'm gonna give you a bit of reasons why I think she appeared this way. But she also gave testimony in regards to how she met Dan, and she testified that she had met Dan online, and they were moving to Tallahassee in 2005. They moved away and then moved back again in 2017 until when he effectively died. She also testified that she didn't think that Dan was a zealot, a religious zealot, but would use his religion to control her. She says that he followed kosher rules until later on, that he followed kosher rules later on in their relationship, that they used to eat bacon and all those things, but they no longer hated later on in the relationship, and that he had imposed his beliefs on the children. So she is, in my opinion, planting seeds for maybe you can call it spiritual abuse, maybe you can call it, but definitely a power and control thing going on here is what I'm gauging from her testimony. She testified also that Donna was not involved in the drafting of the documents of for the divorce, and she only made suggestions, but the lawyers were the ones to do the edits. And she also says that Donna and her were in communications. So she is basically saying, in rebuttal to the email that was sent to her on the 12th of December, that I believe 12th of December or the 10th, one of those days, but that email in regards to the edit that was sent by Wendy, this was the rebuttal for it. She testified that she had a nice quality of life in Tallahassee, but it would have been better for her to live in South Florida closer to her brothers. And she also testifies that after reading email communications on being stuck in Tallahassee, she said that her attorney wrote all of that to make it more basically giving the idea that this was written by her attorney to make her case more persuasive to the judge, that it wasn't her, basically saying that it wasn't her true feelings, that she wasn't really stuck in Tallahassee, but she was making that argument for the judge's consideration. She also testified that Donna didn't want her in Tallahassee as she didn't see that it was a good fit, and agreed that she was saying that her life in Tallahassee was bad for her. So Donna was basically not happy with Wendy living in Tallahassee, and that's why she wanted her to relocate. Again, it shows overreach, and this is now coming from Wendy's mouth. Whether you believe, I don't believe her personally. I would just say that off the bat. But the way that the state is using her to bring in all these facts, and is just giving that backhand testimony towards, if you can call it backhand, but it's just giving that testimony against Donna in a roundabout kind of way. She also testifies that the family business testifies to the family business at the dental practice, and says that she doesn't know how the financials work. And I bet you she does know, but let's hear the structure of the family business.
When my oldest brother was born, so since the early 70s.
So it's fair to say they had deep roots there in that area.
Yes.
Can you describe the relationship that your mom had with your kids during the time frame we're talking about? So separation to murder time frame?
It was very close. My mom taught my boys how to read. She taught them how to play chess. It was very close.
Were your parents employed during that time frame?
Yes.
What kind of work did they do?
My dad was a dentist, and my mom was the office manager for the dental practice.
All right. And what about your brother, Charlie? Did he have a role there as well?
He was a periodontist, and so I believe at some point he purchased the practice. I don't remember what year that was, but he would sometimes work from my dad's office and sometimes work from other offices around South Florida.
Was the dental practice, the family dental practice, a successful business?
I believe it was. My family never discussed money or finances with me, but I believe it was doing well.
Did you discuss your marital problems and resulting legal issues with your mom?
I did.
Talk about relocation, but in general, you did talk about your woes with your mom.
I did.
Okay, so that was the testimony that she would frequently discuss the her woes to her mom. But the interesting part that I wanted to get from that is that that the prosecution are, in my opinion, they laid seeds here so that in the next, or for the next witnesses, they can bring in a bit more. It's basically storytelling unfolding itself, because there is a lot more here that they could have dug on into the practice to basically show that she did know a bit of what was going on, but she shut that door. So what they did was bring in her brother to come and testify, who is going to give a bit more detail about how the practice was done. But I just wanted to highlight this part because they only asked her broadly, because they knew that she was not going to be that she was essentially that she didn't know much about the business. So the seed was laid here to show that it was a family business, in my opinion. She testifies also that she doesn't believe that she this part made me laugh, but she testified that she doesn't believe that Donna Adelson is controlling, and we're gonna see why that's controlling when we reach the brother's why that's funny when we reach the brother's testimony. She also testified that the dad had a more restrained role, but both of them had equal dominance, and she was and at this point you can tell that she was clearly not being 100% truthful with the prosecution. So they refreshed her memory of what she said about her mom back in 2013. Let's listen to her testimony, because what unfolded here, in my opinion, was it was brilliant that she was actually saying that the mom was not controlling, and it turned out that she said something different back in 2013. Let me try.
Okay, did you previously describe this back in 2013 that your mom was the dominant force in the household? If you need to refresh, it's tab 97.
Okay.
Let's fast forward a bit because she's gonna.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes.
You did say mom.
Yes.
You did say mom was the dominant force in the household.
Yes.
Did your mom ever try to micromanage your life,
Yes.
your career?
I don't know about my career. I chose to be a lawyer. It wasn't a very popular choice in my household.
Yes, and there were different types of areas of law that she would have preferred you practice. Do you agree with that?
I actually think they were really proud of what I was doing.
Not to suggest she wasn't proud of you, but she was encouraging you to pursue a different type of law that would be proud of you. But she was encouraging you to pursue a different type of law that would be more lucrative. Do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
And what about your dating life? Did she meddle there?
Yes.
Did she create a dating profile for you on Match.com?
This took
I don't
me
know if
out.
it was Match.com, but I do remember a dating profile at some point.
That she created for you?
I didn't use it, but yes.
And conducted searches for men in the Miami area and sent them to you?
I think
Remember
this
that?
was when I was living in DC, maybe.
Okay, let's go forward a little bit here.
But she said that she wasn't domineering. Okay. She said that she wasn't domineering. She said that she
we'll get
wasn't
there.
controlling. To be quite specific with her words.
January 17th, 2013. For the record, this is 64I. And it reads, so honey, so you think I'm nuts, but when you get a moment, check out some of these whom I've pre-screened for you. And these are guys in Miami, right? After all, you're going to be in Miami here and there. Why not see who's out there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And here's some options that she sent you. Here's an interesting guy, etc. Okay.
This was during the divorce, and the divorce has not been finalized yet, because we know that happened in I believe it was July 13th, 2013 that the divorce was finalized. So the mother was already taking charge in setting in trying to get her on to her next boo, because she was adamant she was moving to South Florida to start a new life. This was before the judgment had been passed down. This background, or this foreshadowing, or the foundation that's being laid here, is essentially showing that the mother, of course, had a vested interest not only in her life, but in making sure that all of her kids were doing as she asked. So it's more in the realm of she would do all of this because she wants to, not necessarily because the kids want to. And the next testimony that came out, that came out, I believe that she gave testimony in regards to her, meaning Donna Adelson, was pushing for was basically saying that she wouldn't have gone for the divorce if not for Donna. So we are going to get to that part of the testimony. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it just caught to me the connection here. But we're going to get to that after we see more of the foundation that's being laid here by the prosecution. So she testifies that Donna had hated Dan before he died, and she was frustrated with him also. So Donna hated her, and she, Wendy, was frustrated with Dan. She testifies that Donna had called him a sexual transmitted disease, so basically an STD. And she testifies that the name Jibbers was used, which means Jew in boots, but she doesn't remember if this was the intent, but she knows it to be more of a silly joke. She testifies that she had an email on April 2013 that she said that she hates her children's dad. So this was Donna saying that she doesn't like Dan Markel at all. She also testifies that she could have called Dan Markel a terrorist. All of this, her memory was all over the place, as she was like that she can't remember much, but I will give her credit here. Doesn't seem to have disappeared on cross-examination. So it could just be who she is, and her memory doesn't really work that well. Maybe it was 10 years ago, so I'm not going to focus too much on that. But I'm just noticing a lot of I don't remember until the memory is refreshed. She testifies that in regards to the testimony of her taking some of Dan's belongings, this was because Dan had made allegations that she was taking her assets his assets, and was using it and was basically, don't know how to say it, but basically frivolous with it. And she basically gave testimony that she only took his tennis rackets but she did return it, but she didn't take his belongings. And this was in response to being asked whether the petition made by Dan about her taking her assets and making it her own was what it was made out to be. She testifies that her mom was involved in the relocating and the moving of places to live. And I'm assuming here it was South Florida, but to be honest, this line of questioning wasn't quite clear. She testified that he had said that Dan had said that Wendy took the kids previously without his knowledge, but she's now saying in court that she never actually did that. She testifies that once the relocation was filed, he was not happy with it, and she says that he was at first, initially, he was amenable to the relocation happening. So he was basically okay or content with the relocation happening until he had actually filed. This gives the idea that there was no problem with Dan in regards to relocating the kids, and the problem only came when he had filed. This gives the idea, and it's her that's trying to paint the idea here that this is the controlling nature of Dan, that basically he would say, no, have no problem, file it, and then goes on the retaliation to try and stop it all from happening. That's the idea that I'm guessing that she's trying to plant here and say that Dan was the actual controlling one. She testifies that her brother Charlie would have been okay with the relocation. She says that she doesn't believe that Charlie was outraged by the decision to deny the order, but Donna was outraged by it, and says that the mom thought her life in Tallahassee was not good for her. She also testifies that she doesn't remember if she said that she would not have left Dan if not for her mom, but she was given her communications about this, and she said that she wouldn't have done it without the support of Charlie and her mom. So she wouldn't have done. So this goes back to what she was saying earlier, what I was saying earlier in regards to seeking the divorce, that she actually did express that she wouldn't have sought the divorce, but now she's twisting it a little bit to basically say no, it was just that she wouldn't be 100%. She wouldn't have gone through it if they didn't support, if she didn't have the support of Donna and her brother Charlie. So in other words, if they were not involved, she may have still been with Dan and continue on with the marriage. So I don't know how this helps the mom. It doesn't really help her, because now it suggests that it may have been her idea. It may have been her seed, her planting the seed to leave him so that she can be closer with her, because her interest, her being Donna here, her interest would be to have her kids closer to her. That was the driving force in all of this, basically. And with the context of trying to even set her up with new men in South Florida is just wild. It just shows you that these I can't remember the last time my mom set me up with anybody. I can't even think of a normal mom wanting to take that route and try and set their child up with. It's just weird to me. But gave her the benefit of the doubt. She did say that she didn't take heed to what the mom had basically tried to do when she was on Match.com, that she didn't really use it. She also gave testimony. That when that. Hold on. So. She also said my bad. She also gave testimony to not knowing who was the mom and dad in the email, and says that it's possible that the mom could have been ascribed. And this is why I think that she's very composed. I'm going to explain after we watch the video.
In her responses, I guess they've got a joint email, so how do we know it's mom and not dad? Do we?
I don't.
Does dad send responses like these? This is all the response. Would Harvey detail like that in a response?
No, but it could be that my dad and mom were talking and that she was the scribe, right? That they were, that it reflects both of their thoughts and that my mom's the one writing it.
And many of the emails are signed mom and dad, or they reference dad and I feel this way. Was it common for your mom to express for the two of them a certain position?
Yes.
So, in my opinion, this is where I believe that's why she's calm, because all of this is it seems very rehearsed. That I wouldn't have been surprised if they have been practicing all of this for before coming to court. But we're gonna get into that, because she was asked this question near the end of direct exam. But continuing on with her testimony, she testified that her mom, she was asked in regards to a text message or an email, one of the two, in regards to calling the parents, or Donna in this case, her South Florida legal team, and she basically said that she was joking with that because there was an emoji next to her, so she was basically joking. I don't know about Donna being a funny person. That's not the personality that I've seen strike in the email. She does seem very, in my opinion, it does seem to be someone that is very sturdy or serious, rigid. I would actually call her. Anyway, moving on. She testified that she didn't take any other action after the order was given, none whatsoever, and this was to deny, and that was the order to deny the relocation request by Dan to Wendy. So she says that Donna had communicated with her to strong arm Dan Markel into moving for the relocation, and Wendy says that getting the children to be Christians was not something that she was willing to do. So she is basically saying that it was only a suggestion by Donna, and she wasn't willing to go with it. That's what she would do, trying to give the impression that the mom is just helping or was just a helper, and she would just, hey, have you considered this? Have you considered that? Rather than how cold it looks in the email that you have to do this. This is the plan of action, is etc. That they're basically saying that there's a difference between the person that's writing it versus how it was presented to her, or versus how she knows her to be. But with the idea already that she called her domineering previously in 2013, with that email already in record, I don't know how you're going to separate the two. Like, despite her giving this impression, this is where I believe that she's being deceptive, and this is where I believe that she is trying to save her mom in a way in this case. But I don't think it's gonna work though. I don't think it's gonna work. But she testifies that she doesn't know why her mom would be Googling on how to act and how to invoke that emotions, that she doesn't know why, when she was asked that mom was making those Google searches. But she did say that the million that was offered to Dan was for Dan to relocate after the order. It was only for Dan to relocate, despite the communications that of the bribe. But she was basically saying that the bribe, or the $1 million, was for him to relocate, not for anything else. She also testifies that she rejected the action plan regarding the kids, and says that, and basically informed her mom that it would backfire on her legally. She also testifies that Donna saw the divorce as a win, which gives the idea that this was a zero-sum game for her, that maybe she was driven way more comparatively than any of the other kids. So she was basically she was just very interested in this case. She also testifies to wanting to buy a house in South Florida, and she also gave testimony that Dan had alleged that she had perpetrated a fraud on the court because of her allegations that she made against Dan in regards to the physical abuse and all of that. And she said that her attorney had to recuse herself because she had to become a witness. So she found a new attorney. So this goes back to the filing, I believe it was in December 2013, in regards to the change of counsel around that time. So I believe this is 12th of December 2012, that change of counsel and the communication there, I believe this is reflecting that period. The state also shows the parental alienation claim that Dan Markel had claimed, and she testified to forwarding these emails to 12 people because of the fraud that he was alleging because she was part of the bar. So she forwarded emails. She's basically testifying that she forwarded emails to those people to basically show what was going on. And she also testified that the email was in regards to Donna's involvement in the kid's life rather than the grandma, rather than the grandma motion. So after all of that, that was the focus on Donna Adelson. So now the prosecution then turns to Charlie Adelson, who was Donna's middle child, or Donna's son. We already talked about that on day one. We didn't go into much details, but there is a friend of the channel who goes by the name of Publicly Buzzed. I've been on his channel in regards to the Ross case. He is covering the Charlie Adelson trial. So if you want to know a bit more into why Charlie Adelson was found guilty in that case, you can go check out his series called Murder Church. He is doing that. I have left the link to go and watch the series in the description. You can go check that out if that case interests you. But it is related to this case, and like I said, I'm not gonna look at other cases. I want to keep this purely on this particular case and my thoughts on this particular case as it goes on. But nonetheless, we're now focusing on Charlie Adelson from the lens of Wendi Adelson, his sister, and she testifies that Charlie had joked about hiring a hitman when the dad had bought a TV. When Harvey Adelson, who is her dad, bought a TV, she says that she told Jake Lacasse, who is the boyfriend that she who is the man that she basically ended up dating after Dan Markel, and says that Jake was someone that like I said, Jake was someone that she was dating after Dan Markel. She testifies that she doesn't know why the TV repair appointment took up to an hour. So this was when the prosecution was really trying to go into the details of this TV requirement, because we got to remember on this TV appointment and this TV code word, because this is what they were alleging on their theory of the case, in basically saying that these guys were speaking code word and TV would be the code word. So the prosecution highlighted here that why would a TV repair appointment take up to 1 hour and the TV is not repaired by a professional? This is, mind you. But let's listen to the testimony.
At the TV, that was the same TV that your brother joked he got you as a divorce present because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
Yes.
Okay. And on the morning of the murder, did your mom text you about the TV repair guy being on the way or coming to your house?
She did. I didn't buy the TV, and the TV had an insurance policy that came with the Geek Squad help. So I think they reached out to her first, and then she let me know that they were coming.
The TV was under warranty, right?
I believe so.
But the damage that you had was not covered by the warranty, was it?
I don't think so.
Okay, and do you recall how long the TV repairman was at your house?
I don't. It was a reasonable amount of time, so maybe an hour or so.
And why did it take an hour to determine that the TV couldn't be repaired or was not under warranty?
I don't know. I don't know a lot about AV equipment.
And the TV repair guy, well, I guess I should ask, were you upset, crying and upset during the time that the TV repairman was there?
I don't think so.
Were you particularly upset about the TV, the fact that the TV couldn't be repaired?
I don't think so.
Okay, so the TV guy, to your recollection, didn't actually do anything. He didn't fix the TV, he didn't take it away, he didn't bring you a new one?
No. He was trying to fix it. I mean, I think he was trying to assess what the problem was and if it could be fixed, but it wasn't taken away.
The problem was like an impact to the screen, right?
It seemed to be that, yeah.
Okay. Did you go
that just tells you the BS of this testimony, because if it was an impact to the screen, basically. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you could repair that. It would just need a new screen, and the new screen would cost as much as a new TV repair. I'm going by experience, because I've had my own TV broken. Like, someone had basically stepped on it and it broke the TV. And I was told that I would need to, like, they were basically dissuading me for it because they could tell that I didn't come from a well-off background, etc. And basically that the TV would need repairing. But I could repair it, but it just wouldn't be cost effective because the cost of a new screen to put in, it could definitely be repaired, but the cost of a new screen would essentially mean that that it wouldn't be worth doing, but it could still be done. So if they had, oh no, let me go back on. Sorry, I accidentally pressed the wrong button there. But anyway, if this was the case, I'm guessing that they could afford the new screen, and I think it would have gone to a level in regards to ordering the screen to come in, and then from the ordering of the screen, they will come in and then repair the TV then. So based on the understanding, I can see what she's trying to say. However, in my experience, this was me telling them what had happened to the screen on the telephone. So this was before they even came. So if I told them over the telephone what happened, and I said, yeah, let's go ahead, I'll pay for the, don't worry about my financial about my financial situation, I'll pay for the screen, don't care if it's cost effective, whatever, I'll pay for the screen, just come and repair it. What's obviously going to happen is that they're going to order the screen and then take it and come to my house and set it up. So it feels like, at least based on the way that is described here, it feels like they probably told them something different, on which I doubt, because she says here that they said it was an impact on the TV, and to me, they would have all this information ready before they even come out. That's what I'm trying to say. Before the repairman even comes out, they will have this information ready so that when they come out, they'll just do the job necessary. They would have advised them on the course of action. So if this was an impact injury, not impact injury, but you know what I mean, if it was an impact damage to the TV, they would have been prepared for that. And the repairman would have likely fixed it that day, because it's just impact. It's not like they didn't know what it was, and he had to come out and see this TV and then realize, oh, actually it's a bigger software issue, we'll have to come back on another day. That one I can understand, but just based on that impact, I don't think that they will send someone out without knowing what the issue was first to at least prepare for it. So that's why I think that this testimony was detective, and it does show that maybe they could have been using this hour to plan something, and they have this alibi ready, because that's part of the theory, that they use this TV as code talk to prepare their alibi. So anyway, she also testifies that she does know of who Kathryn Mack is. Mac Benoit, I can never say her name, but Kathryn Mack, and says that the second time she met her was a month before the murder, and had met her with Jake Lacasse, who we know is her boyfriend. And she testifies that Charlie had multiple girlfriends, including Katie, so she doesn't really know exactly the full relationship, basically, that she doesn't really know. She also testifies that the TV repairman came in the early hours in the house in the early hours. So this suggests that, if, at least from my understanding, that he could have come back later on to fix the TV, but that never happened. Something to consider. Like, that's if we're throwing away my understanding of it, and like, you know, and the fact that he just came out there without knowing the issue with the TV, they would have likely come back that same day. But if we're going with what she says, okay, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's done differently in the States, and she has to try and get the repairman was trying to get the necessary parts, the parts necessary for the repair. She also testified that she did not use TV as a code for murder. She testifies to not having a conversation with Lacasse about a hitman. She also testifies that she encountered a roadblock, but she didn't call Dan or the daycare about the roadblock, saying and said that she wasn't concerned about the roadblock. That particular day, this was the day that Dan was killed, but says that she had tried calling Dan that day and he just didn't pick up. So we're gonna hear more testimony about this roadblock later. She testifies that Dan had given her details of what he was doing that particular morning and where he told her that he was going to the gym. He gave her the times, all of that. Let's go listen to the testimony, because I found this part quite fascinating. I have quite a bit to say in regards to this testimony.
Or whether they were coming to visit or what that looked like.
Okay. Did Mr. Markel leave you a message on the morning of his murder?
He did.
Okay, and did he indicate on that message that he was going to the gym that morning?
He did.
And specifically, did it tell you he'd be at the gym between 9:15 and 10:30?
I don't remember, but that sounds about right.
All right, and would he have given you that much detail because you were planning to try to touch base to talk, right?
Yeah, we were trying to have a conversation.
And was the conversation something about one of the children's schooling?
It was.
Did you talk to your brother Charlie on the morning of the murder?
I did.
And does an 18-minute conversation at 9:30 a.m. that day sound correct?
It does.
Do you remember the nature of that conversation?
I do. I didn't purchase the TV, so I didn't know how much the TV cost.
Hold up, let's go back a bit. Let's get that timeline.
Conversation?
I do.
A.m. that day sound?
I did.
And does an 18-minute conversation at 9:30 a.m. that day sound correct?
It does.
Do you remember the nature of that conversation?
I do. I didn't purchase the TV, so I didn't know how much the TV cost. And so I called him to find out if it made more sense to get the TV repaired or buy a new TV, because I didn't know what the delta was there.
Okay. Can you tell the jury one way or the other for sure whether you mentioned Dan Markel's travel plans to Charlie during that 18-minute phone call?
I can't say for sure, but I don't see why I would have brought it up.
Did you have WhatsApp on your phone at that time?
This is it's devastating, because end of the day, you're telling me that you called on this particular day that this hit had happened. You just coincidentally call your brother, who was the one that knows the person that ordered the hit. You just called your brother this day to let him know about whether to get the TV repaired or get a brand new TV. This TV repair appointment, I wish I knew the time. I wish I was listening hard. I was listening hard for the date the TV repair appointment was supposed to happen. So if someone else picked it up, let me know in the chat. Maybe I could have missed it, but I didn't know the date. I've always imagined that this TV appointment would have been a different on a different day, but I'm guessing it could have been on this same exact day that the repairman would have, so that they have their alibi. So I'm guessing it would have been on this same day in regards to this TV appointment. And this is the part. So he testifies that at 9:15, like she called Dan to know what time he's going to the gym and to know his whereabouts. Then calls Charlie. Then I'm guessing, we don't know, he's gonna come in to testify. So he might come in to testify. Actually, he might not. I would imagine he is going to come in to testify. So he's obviously going to testify in regards to this movement, in regards to this moment, because receiving this call on that day And then you guys were just talking about the TV repair. Should we pay for a new TV or repair it? And this is at 9:30. So what time did was the TV repair appointment? Because they said that the repairman came about at 10 o'clock. If you're already talking about getting a new TV or go ahead with the repair, then you're basically saying that the repair appointment had basically already happened. It would be a massive coincidence for this to be true, that all this happened just 2 hours before he died. And we know from the testimony from Louis Rivera that he said that this was their last chance to get this hit done, because he was going to be out of the country, so they were not going to have any other opportunity to get it done only this day. So they had to receive his location and his precise planning for that day, and that's why they had essentially tracked him from his house to the gym and back to his house to kill him, because they couldn't kill him at the gym. It's a public place, etc. Blah blah. So they had to go to the gym, track him back, because they didn't really know what other movements he was planning to do. Wild. Moving on. She testifies. But I just want to say this really does aid with the prosecution testimony. I mean, prosecution theory of the case. I mean, it's just strong. It's just way too strong at this point. She testifies to changing the children's name after the death of Dan from Markel to Adelson. She also testifies that this was in regards to the Evite. I'm not too sure if this is in regards to the TV appointment that she made. I'm guessing it would be for the TV appointment that they were sending this Evites. So the invite might have been for that reason, for the repair appointment or whatever. But she essentially had said that the parents may have done it and the mom may have done the invite, because she might have done it for the mom, like she might have sent the invite herself, all of these things. So that was the bulk of that testimony. She also says that the name change started when she registered the children for the school, and she also testifies that her and her children did not attend the funeral. And she also testified that the last time she spoke with Donna was in 2023, and she says that her mom had offered her advice on what to say and what to act about in court. So they had spoken in 2023, and she was offering advice on what to say and act like in court. She said that that Donna told her to support Charlie in court for his court case. And she also said that she did not take part in any plot to kill Dan Markel. She also testified that her brother made a tasteless joke about getting a TV rather than hiring a hitman, and it was just a tasteless joke. So that's Charlie Adelson's involvement, because he had said he had rather get a TV than hiring a hitman. And she testifies that she was worried of being a suspect because the ex-wife is usually a suspect. But the prosecution was obviously pushing back on this, saying, how could you be worried when it was a non-custodial interview and you were not even listed as a suspect? They just wanted to get your version of events. And she was mentioning that she was a suspect at least 9 times in the interview. She also testified that she suggested that she also testified that she suggested to law enforcement that her parents were mad, and that her parents were mad at Dan, and they could be a suspect. And she also testified that she said to law enforcement that her parents sounded really surprised, so that's a relief. And when she relayed the info given to her by law enforcement in connection with Dan's death. This goes back again to the prosecution theory of the case in regards to her making a call to to the parents after speaking with law enforcement. A lot more of this is going to unravel in the next testimony. On cross-examination, it was they tried their best, but I'm gonna go through the key points from the cross-examination. She basically testified that she could hear the shock in Donna's voice when she spoke with about Dan's death with her, and said that she never listened to the interview with the police, that she only read transcript. But so when she called Donna, she said that she was basically shocked to have learned that that Dan was dead. The defense highlights that Donna wasn't with Wendy when she had met Kathryn Mack. So again, Donna wasn't there with you, was she? So she doesn't know. Basically, she just doesn't know who she doesn't know who Kathryn or K.E. McBuena actually is. So she cannot be implicated. That's basically the idea. She also said that her mom was not with her when she was with Jeff Lacasse. The defense also highlights that the parents' support of the children, including funding their ventures. They basically said that Donna was selfless and never needing anything in return, always looking out for everyone else rather than herself, and that Donna was a ray of sunshine and always took care of her children. I mean, I don't know how you can call someone a ray of sunshine that just kept calling this person that is deceased now a gibber, a derogatory term. But what was good for the gander, I guess. I think that's how the saying goes. Anyway, moving on. The defense also highlights that she left Dan on the 9th of September 2012, and how she had taken care. And this was in a way good, because this was showing that Donna was taking care of the kids when she had left her, and was helping her adjust to life being now a single mom, because because Dan would do these things when they were together. So now the mom was basically taking over and doing these things with her. The defense also highlights that the communications were distasteful, but she never suggested that Dan deserved to be harmed or even harmed in their email exchanges, saying that during this time of the email exchanges, when they were going through the custody battle, the divorce battle, I should say, that even during this time that she was still taking care of the kids. So this was basically Operation Cleanup, and basically tried to not make Donna seem to be this overbearing mother that they have made her out to be on direct exam. The defense also highlights that Wendy was not familiar with family law, and I thought that this part of the testimony was kind of weird. Let's go listen to that testimony right now. But I thought that this part was kind of weird, especially knowing her background in law. How would she not know this part? How would she not know what this means?
Okay. And could you read for the jury what the title of that pleading is?
Yes, ma'am. Former husband's counter motion for enforcement of MSA on parenting issues and motion for contempt and sanctions.
Doesn't say grandmother motion, does it?
No.
And in fact, the overwhelming majority of that motion relates to Danny's complaints about you and parenting issues, correct?
It does, yes.
And in fact, what they call the grandmother part of that motion is really Danny complaining about you not meeting the requirements of the right of first refusal, correct?
That's correct.
Because his complaint is that if you gave him the right of first refusal, some of the times he could take it and the children would be with him instead of the grandmother.
Yes.
It wasn't actually suggesting that from this point forward, your mother could no longer have anything but supervised visitation, correct?
I didn't see it that way.
Okay. And in any event, your mother never saw that motion, did she?
No, she did not.
May I approach? I'm going to take the book. I don't know if I'm going to need to give it back to you or not. That way it's not going to fall on you.
Okay.
Now, the state has referred to this bribe. You've heard him talk about that, correct?
I believe so.
They suggested, because I think there are emails that discuss this, about potentially offering Danny $1 million.
Yes.
And your understanding of what was trying to take place there, because you actually put that in writing, was it wasn't to take the children away from Danny, was it?
No.
It was in hopes that he would relocate to Miami as well, correct?
Yes.
And that although you would live separate lives, you could raise your children together, correct?
Yes.
Because there were more opportunities for him, Danny, to practice his Jewish faith in Miami than there is in Tallahassee, correct?
Correct.
They have kosher food in Miami,
Yes.
lots of it.
Yes.
They don't have that in Tallahassee.
No.
Okay.
And the $1 million offer was not to bribe him in what sounds like an illegal sense. It was an incentive for him to relocate himself to Miami, correct?
Yes. That was my understanding. Yes.
You lived there with him before,
Yes.
and he liked living there.
Yes. He
In
liked
fact-
it very much.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, that's okay. I was just saying he liked it very much.
In fact, he tried to get a professorship at the University of Miami School of Law.
He did.
And if he had gotten that, the plan between you and he was to stay in Miami, correct?
We would have. Yes.
But he didn't get it, and so he had already been employed by FSU College of Law, right?
Yes.
And so you moved up here and finished law school, and you all remained in this area.
Yes.
So the $1 million would offset, as the state has mentioned, travel expenses if he moved there, correct?
Right.
He only taught 2 days a week, right?
Yes.
And so that would have given him the opportunity to live in Miami, but for the 2 days a week he needed to be in Tallahassee, he could take plane trips, right?
Yes.
And be here.
Yes.
And if you all had done that, he still could have enjoyed 50% parenting time with his children, right?
That would have been the same. Yes.
It wasn't to take him away from the kids.
No.
Okay, so this obviously puts the parental alienation idea to bed, because it gives the idea or the impression that that Dan was like that all the money that they were offering after the order was given in regards to the relocation was to basically come to an amicable understanding that that if he does relocate himself, that he can relocate himself to Miami and live there and travel back and forth for work in Tallahassee if he decided to do so. So I thought that this was probably the best cleanup of a bad direct exam, and it's just I keep thinking that the more highlighting of the jibs repetition, the gibber, the more highlighting of the gibber comment by Donna is just not helping. But I do understand but I do understand why they would need to highlight this to show that he wasn't bribing to allow the kids to relocate, but it was more of to make him or to persuade him to relocate. And I thought there was another good point that was brought out on cross-examination, and this was when the defense highlighted that Donna didn't know or didn't have full knowledge that the order had been stipulated. That Wendy didn't stipulate to the mother that the order was final. So the mother was continuing in trying to tell her to do all these things, because she thought it was the 28th of June hearing that would make the order final. So essentially, this puts the bribery thing into more context, because it suggests that she only done this because she was trying to give Danny ideas so that they could so that he could send it or give it to the judge or make him consider it, like so that they could all relocate rather than just kids. That's what I gathered from that's what I gathered from the testimony, and the defense also highlights that Wendy was in the Dan Markel show and he had control. And that part was, I believe, was a mistake because the state on redirect came back in regards to that jib about the Dan Markel show to basically and it's just, Dan Markel is dead. So why would you even want to make a jib like that? Why would you want to make a quip like that what they were doing was basically because it was how Dan Markel would want things, and she was basically acting for the Dan Markel show.
They're not eating kosher like they would have with their father.
They are not.
They don't have him at all.
They don't have him in their lives day to day, no.
Because on July the 18th of 2014, he was brutal.
So
Too far ahead.
had some doubts about it, right? 18,
I would say it's part of the reason.
when you kind of had some doubts about it, right?
Other people happy.
And one of those,
I had always been a real people pleaser, present in my own. I think I felt like I just wasn't fully present in.
Hold up, sorry. Keep going to wrong timestamp. All right, there it is. Wrong timestamp.
you said you were an actor in someone else's show. Whose show was it?
I think I felt like I just wasn't fully present in my own life, that I had always been a real people pleaser. And so there was an aspect of not always being true to myself and wanting to make other people happy.
And one of those people is your mom, right?
Yes.
And that's part of why you kept going with relocation, even when you kind of had some doubts about it, right?
I would say it's part of the reason.
You were asked on cross-examination about the final order on relocation issued June 20th, 2013, and didn't you stipulate to making it with prejudice, I guess? Do you remember doing that?
I don't actually remember stipulating. I mean, I see it in the order, but I don't remember actively saying anything or participating in a stipulation.
In fact, when you
This was what I was highlighting earlier because she was explaining. She was explaining on the cross-examination that she didn't even know what with prejudice meant. I found this odd. I mean, maybe most lawyers wouldn't know what with prejudice meant. But I would imagine that she would have been advised at that point by our own counsel that what with prejudice would mean and what the end game would have been, or what the likely outcome would have been if they were to receive a certain order in let's say, just basically what I'm trying to say is that based on the direction that they were heading to, I'm pretty sure that with her requesting for the relocation for the kids, her lawyer would have likely said, hey, this could be dismissed with or without prejudice. With prejudice means this, without prejudice means this. So what I'm trying to say is that she would have likely known at the time. And the state also highlighted that Donna had the kids in Nazi uniform and got them baptized all to the end of relocating to South Florida, because she was basically doing this, or this was going back to what Donna was saying that she should do in order to aggravate Dan, basically to put on the performance of her life. So her end goal was just to have them move over, and the state are highlighting that she just justified that end goal by going this excessive. So if she went this excessive and the order was denied, she also could have gone, the idea basically is she also could have gone to the level of criminal liability. The state also of criminality, sorry, not of criminal liability, sorry, criminality. Anyway, moving on. The state also highlights that Dan Markel wouldn't agree to the relocation despite their efforts to persuade him with the money to relocate to South Florida. Then the next witness was Robert Adelson, who is the son of Donna Adelson, and we only have 20. I don't want to draw this out over 2 hours. So I want to keep this as short as and concise. But this testimony was really key. Wendy's testimony was really informative. So I'm gonna run onto this stream is gonna be up to 2 hours, but that's the maximum that I usually run my streams anyway. But anyway, Robert Adelson testifies to being an ear and throat doctor. He also testifies that Donna was more on the controlling side, and Harvey would be the more passive and ebb and flow person in that marriage dynamic. That Donna was the one to be very controlling. Again, we're getting the ideas that Donna has a lot of domination within this family. He also says that Donna had a certain rigid, fixed ideas, and if you didn't go along with those ideas, things wouldn't be fine, or when you do go along, things will be good. He also testifies that Donna was a bit on the coaching or on the controlling side, including the relationships and their professional side with their jobs. So where we got a bit more of a restraint testimony in regards to Donna, and a bit more of I don't know how to put it, but downplaying on Donna Adelson's part, where she said that she wasn't actually domineering, that she wasn't actually controlling, that she wouldn't describe the mother as that. We're getting a completely different side here. And they also try to get into the testimony regarding of Wendi Adelson, whether she was gullible or a person to think of things in all angles. This was actually objected to. I believe that it wasn't stated, but I believe that this will be speculation for the particular reason, because even though he's testifying based on the knowledge personally, there is no way for her to know whether she was very gullible or would think things through. And I think is the thinking part, and I think is a thinking part that basically got the objection sustained. But maybe it would have been given by another judge. But anyway, moving on. He testifies that Charlie was dependent on his mom and would support his business. He also says that the mom would handle the payroll and sign checks. And I thought that this is a very key part of his testimony, because it goes right into the prosecution theory I will explain afterwards. Wrong timestamp.
Dependent on my mom to help him out with organizing stuff. Charlie was probably somewhat dependent on my mom to help him out with. I would say Charlie was
Other or pretty Donna Adelson dependent on each other or pretty independent from each other?
I would say Charlie was probably somewhat dependent on my mom to help him out with organizing stuff, his dental practice. I think he probably relied on her a lot.
Okay. And you mentioned the dental practice. When you were growing up, who owned the dental practice?
My dad.
Okay. And throughout your life, was Donna Adelson in charge of the money at Adelson Institute?
I wouldn't know the inside workings of it, but I always remember my mom signing the checks and writing the checkbook at the table, when I was back in middle school or high school. So. Okay.
So even back then, and she would do some bookkeeping or payroll type things at home.
That's my memory of it.
Okay, so this testimony, I believe that this is a good opening for the defense. Remember what I said before, that they were trying, because Donna Adelson's signature was based on Detective Isom's testimony, that Donna Adelson's signature was on the checks that was made to the person that ordered the hit. So Kathryn McBanwa, or just K.E. Mac. Basically, K.E. Mac, she was receiving money based on yesterday's testimony. She was receiving money from the Adelson Institute after the hit was done, and Donna will sign these checks. I said or better word to use, I theorized that the defense could actually counter this. I don't know how easy it would be, but they could counter this by bringing the business records to show that she signed other checks, and it was just what she was tasked to do in the business, that she didn't just sign this one check, she signed multiple other checks, and she couldn't have had an idea to know what she was signing. That just because she was signing these checks does not mean that she had knowledge that she was signing for a hit person to take out Dan Markel. So that's what I'm guessing the defense angle might be, and I think the prosecution know this angle is going to come. So maybe they are introducing that now that she was already doing the books, so she would have the wherewithal to say, hey, bring the money in through this business. I will just make it seem like a business expense, paying the maybe it's a bit of a long shot, but I'm thinking that might be the play here. But they could, but the defense could still bring the business records under the business records exception of hearsay and show that she was signing other checks as part of her business, as part of the business. But I'll be very interested to see where it goes on from here. He also testifies that Donna was the type of person that wouldn't snap and do something, that she would ask questions first before doing anything. He also testifies that Donna hated Dan Markel, and says that he heard Donna say that Danny was depositioning Wendy to death, and Wendy is going through all of these things. He also testified that Wendy had moved out and Donna had ran around getting things prepared and have the money basically ready to make the move easier. So this was basically, I believe, to be after the death had happened, that all of this was going on because of Donna, that she was preparing for for Wendy to move to South Florida. He testifies that Donna cared more about the divorce than Harvey Adelson did. So Harvey didn't care. According to his testimony, it seems that Harvey didn't care that much about the divorce. He testifies that the job that Wendy had in Tallahassee, I believe this was Tallahassee, or whether this was South Florida. Sorry, I didn't know which one. I assumed Tallahassee, but it could equally be South Florida. But essentially, that job had fell through, and she had applied to that job. She was actually expecting to get that job, and they no longer wanted her anymore. And Donna was furious at this job falling through for Wendy. So I would guess, based on the furiousness, I think she'd be pretty happy if it fell through at Tallahassee. But if it was falling through at South Florida, then the job opportunities that she was basically telling Dan Markel about and all those things, she would be pretty furious with that. She'd be more furious with South Florida, is what I'm saying. But I wasn't too sure either way when I was trying to get as much information in regards to his testimony. He also testifies to what happened when he was informed that Dan was shot, and I thought that this testimony was a nail in the coffin for. If it's only day 2, so maybe I shouldn't use the word nail in the coffin, but it was definitely damning. Let's take a look.
Like right before 10 in the morning, it said like, tragedy here, please call.
And are these from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Okay. So were you able to call her that morning from the conference in Chicago?
Yeah, so I walked out and went to the hotel lobby and just hit call.
Okay, and tell us about that conversation with her.
So it's one of those moments that you'll just remember forever. So I remember being in the lobby of the Westin, and I assumed something terrible.
Hold on, I just want to get the name.
Call you later, and then I got a text message shortly thereafter, like right before 10 in the morning. It said like, tragedy here, please call.
And are these from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Okay, so the text messages was from Donna Adelson. this was the next part of the testimony.
about that conversation with her.
So it's one of those moments that you'll just remember forever. So I remember being in the lobby of the Westin, and I assumed something terrible had happened, and but I wasn't ready for it. She said, so we just want to let you know that Danny's been shot, and they took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it. And it didn't make any sense. And I probably asked like a few medical questions, and they said they're driving up to go help Wendy, and we'll talk to you later. We can't talk now.
Okay. Was she crying in that conversation?
Not in
Donna
that
Adelson?
conversation.
Sir?
No, she was not.
Okay.
It was very matter of fact.
Did she ever give you any further detail that weekend about how he'd been shot, or other than just Danny was shot and he didn't make it?
I think it was the next day. So the only really other time that I spoke with him that weekend, I was in the airport going home, like Sunday afternoon. So it was definitely the next day, and it was the first time I could actually have any kind of conversation. And one of the things that she told me is it bothered me, but I didn't have any other details about. But she said that someone went to the front door and said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and then shot him. And then I said, "Well, how could you know that? Who's telling you that?" And she said, "Well, that's just what they're telling us." And
Okay. So she said someone told her that someone knocked on Danny's door, said, "Are you Dan Markel?" He said yes, and the shooter shot him.
That's the story I heard. And later we found out that wasn't what happened. But that story bothered me a lot, because there's only one way you could hear that story.
Was she crying when she told you that information?
No.
So that was very interesting, because I thought that this was the same day of the shooting. So how could she have known that the shooting had gone past? But this was the next day. So this was all of this, I believe, was happening the next day after they were relayed information from Wendi Adelson about the shooting, and the law enforcement never revealed how or what was said to Dan or anything like that to Dan. So Donna is now on the phone the next day speaking with him, and basically said that someone had basically said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and basically shot him. This is damning, because now it shows that she did have knowledge, or that she may have had inside knowledge into what had happened during the shooting, what may have happened, or I don't know, like maybe I don't know, maybe someone, like, either way, whatever happened, this is a horrible slip of the tongue if you weren't told this, and you were just trying to formulate thoughts of your own to say maybe this will happen. Maybe you were theorizing that this is what happened, but it doesn't sound like theorizing or trying to offer their perspective. It sounds like they had inside knowledge of what would happen, or maybe they were planning the hit and the person told him, "Hey, this is what we did. We just went up, asked just to make sure." I'm trying to rationalize this. It's crazy, but anyway, that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. But this directly ties her into the murder for hire plot, because she called in, and he also testified that Donna had called him saying, "Do not talk to law enforcement," and he basically said, "It's too late. I have already talked to law enforcement. It's too late. I have already spoke with law enforcement." That he was always going to tell the law enforcement, and Donna basically hung up the phone and said, Donna basically hung up the phone and said, "Oh, you don't know anything anyway." So, and that was the bulk of the conversation. On cross-examination, the defense highlights that he was not with his family from 2012 to 2014. I mean, it was a weak cross-examination, in my opinion. because all he was showing was just that that he was not close with the family to maybe know the ins and outs of the family and what was going on. And he also, the defense also highlighted that it was the friend or I never heard lawyer, but basically someone called Weinstein was basically advising them to not speak with law enforcement. So that was the bulk of the cross-examination. There was no redirect after this, and then the last witness was Officer Brannon. He was he was one of the police officers on the scene who had blocked the road out, and he testified to seeing a particular car, a red, and he showed the car that he had basically saw that was on the roadblock, and he basically said that this car, it was a red car or burgundy, I would say, and the car, basically the driver did not look at all to be bothered by, like they were not fazed. Basically, they just continued driving, or they just turned around and went the other way without inquiring what went on, etc. So that was the bulk of his testimony. That we are now here. So what's next? I want to be quick with this because a lot of this testimony has implicated, in my opinion, the prosecution has done really well to implicate, or at least show the methodic steps that Donna Adelson has had from the divorce, from the start of the divorce, maybe even before the divorce. Maybe she had even had a part to play in them getting a divorce, that we have heard, that we have seen the part that she has played, and even up to the killing, the fact that she now comes back into the picture, regrouping everyone to say, hey, don't talk to law enforcement, don't do this. I'm pretty sure there are text messages to Charlie, and well, we didn't see it with Wendy, so there was no message not to talk to law enforcement with Wendy. In fact, Wendy was the one that told Donna, but at least we are seeing how her tentacles is now reaching out now that Dan Markel was dead. We also learned a very important thing in regards to. We also learned a very important thing in regards to the hands that she had in the business regarding paying people and doing the checks. Like I said, it's likely that she was the one that was advising Charlie to put it through, to make sure, to basically put Kathryn through the company account. And by how bad it was, I would think that someone who is a control freak that doesn't really know what they're doing, but they will believe that they do know what they're doing, that based on how bad the cover up to make KE an employee of the company, they even have roles and responsibilities, all those things. They just register to a payroll. I wouldn't be surprised if you can infer that this was Donna's idea to put her on to the payroll to compensate for all of the part that she played. We still have to wait for the testimony in regards to how Katie, and we might hear from Katie, we might hear from her in regards to how she got to mention Wendi Adelson as the hit is for. But anyway, that's all I have time for today. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. Like I said, this stream has gone on like, we may have run a bit over the time because I try to keep it 1 hour 30 minutes to 1 hour 45. But it was a lot to cover today, and I promise I'll make sure that it's a lot more condensed and a lot more digestible going forward, so that it's not as long as 2 hours. But there was a lot to really try and get down from Wendy's testimony, and I got all those parts down from Wendy's testimony because I firmly believe I'll be making a lot more references and connections when the other witnesses come up. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence that she's on this early. I just don't think so. And there will be a lot more references to her maybe when Charlie comes on, but I feel like I'm going to use a bulk of her testimony to connect the dots when the prosecution puts it forward. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow for the day 3 recap, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you tune in. I really hope to see you all there, and I hope that you guys did enjoy this stream. Replay crew, if you're watching back, let me know how you're feeling. Make sure that you let me know in the comments. Say hi, Ketchup Man, or whatever your heart consents. Make sure that you hit the like button as well as the subscribe button, and don't forget to share this stream with all of your friends and family and whoever you care about. It really, really does help out with the YouTube algorithm. I go by the name of Hines, your friendly neighborhood Ketchup Man. Thank you so much for tuning in for another recap. Take care now. Bye for now. Thank you everyone for tuning in for another Ketchup Court live stream. Make sure that you smash that like button as well as hitting that subscribe button to be notified of our future live streams. We go live regularly, bringing you case updates and recaps of ongoing trials. So make sure you hurry back on the next live stream. We also have more content on the channel that you can binge on. Check out the playlist that we have showcasing all of these contents. Without further, I go by the name of Hines, your friendly neighborhood Ketchup Man, and I'll see you back in court.